Thanks again to everyone that helped set this up to give me an opportunity to speak to everyone online. As much as I'd like to invite everyone to a big retirement ceremony, now is simply not the time for that. We'll have a huge party some other time, I promise. For now, I just want to reflect back on the Air Force career I've had and how thankful I am for the people in my life. I think I was a junior at Harvey High School in Painesville, Ohio, when I first became interested in the Air Force. Desert Storm was on the news every day with video footage from F-117 airstrikes, and I saw a pamphlet with two Air Force football players, Chad Hennings and Dee Dallas. I knew I was too small to play football at the academy, but I thought maybe I could play baseball. I was wrong. I got cut my freshman year. But I found another sport, boxing, and it taught me a lot. I learned from legendary USAFA boxing coach Ed Wishers. I don't remember much of what he taught me about boxing, but I'll never forget his motto: tough times don't last, tough people do. That experience also taught me that the Air Force is full of opportunities if you are willing to set aside your fears and try something new. When I went to pilot training, I didn't have any preconceived notions or expectations. I was just happy to be there. I remember some of the instructor pilots talking about how many students had washed out of F-15 training, and they said the eagles eat their young. But when the opportunity presented itself, I set aside my fears to try something new, and that decision made all the difference in the world. The F-15C community was and still is awesome. I was the last of the Lions as a lieutenant in the 59th Fighter Squadron with T. Mac McCarthy as my first squadron commander. Then on to the Guerrillas, where I flew with Desert Storm MiG killers like E.T. Murphy and O.B. Denny, and a young weapons officer named Cobra Harigian. They taught me what it was to be a fighter pilot. I also met the love of my life during that first assignment at Eglin, and Irene has been with me ever since. She had to wait a year for me while I did a remote assignment to Korea, but then I was able to come back to the 60th Fighter Squadron commanded by Weeby Young and Ugg Lee, and we had the time of our lives. Simply too many good people to name them all. That's also when Irene had our first child, Alexander James, or AJ. More on that kid later. At the end of that assignment, the Air Force gave me another golden opportunity. This time to attend the Air Force Weapons School. And guys like Odie Ladko made sure I was ready by kicking my butt many times in BFM spin-up. And I had a great class. Stoner, Roper, Munch, Jekyll, and Magoo, and some great instructors as well. From there, I went back to Tyndall in the 2nd Fighter Squadron, the American Beagles, led by Ugg Lee, Hyphen Remans Van Laer, and Fang Benjamin. I think we probably trained some B Corps students, but I mostly remember hanging out in the squadron bar with guys like Sluggo Silva and Spike Causey, and the epic reunions we had with our World War II veterans. Listening to stories from World War II veterans like Freddie Orr made me realize how lucky we were to be part of something so historic. There really isn't anything that compares to Air Force heritage. We also had our second born child, Jackson, during that assignment, and the four of us headed out to Las Vegas in the 422 Test and Evaluation Squadron at Nellis. That was probably the best flying assignment of my career. Getting to fly in the northern ranges every day, developing new tactics with the latest software. I had some great bosses, Mega Hurst, Bart Weed, Trigger Vogel, and made lifelong friends, especially in the Eagle Division. From there, we went to Monterey for school. It was a quick 15 months, but a lot happened. We became foster parents, and we met some really incredible people, and were blessed with our third child, Audrey. She has been the light of our lives and brought us together with the Jury family, Chad, Yvonne, Caitlin, and her brother, Ian. I also got my first assignment to the Raptor, training at Tyndall, of course, then out to Holloman in the 8th Fighter Squadron, the Black Sheep. It was another quick year, and our time was cut short by the Air Force decision to move F-22s out of Holloman. But we had an absolute blast with Bluto Baker as our squadron commander. And again, just too many great memories and stories and too many people to list. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Bluto and Fumez Hike for working my next assignment back to Tyndall and the Weapons Evaluation Group. We made so many friends in the WEG during those 4 years, and it was an absolute honor to command the 83rd Fighter Weapons Squadron. After that, after 20 years, I was about ready to retire when the Air Force gave me yet another great opportunity, and once again, we decided to try something new, and I'm glad we did. A great family year at the Fletcher School in Boston, followed by a difficult year with me going back to Korea without the family to work in the Air Operations Center. During lots of ballistic missile launches and nuclear weapons tests by the North Koreans. But tough times don't last. And I'll never forget sitting in the airport in Seoul on my way home for Christmas when General Guns Bergeson called me to tell me I was going to be the next 325th Operations Group Commander. It was the opportunity of a lifetime to come back to Tyndall and finish my career where I had learned how to be an officer and a fighter pilot. I've been surrounded by so many great leaders and the best group of people in the world. My hat's off to the entire 325th and everyone else who have helped us along the way, including our friends at Eglin in the 33rd Fighter Wing and the 96th Test Wing. No one could have predicted we would get hit with a Cat 5 hurricane and a global pandemic. But remember, tough times don't last, tough people do, and you are all tough. You'll get through these times with continued excellence. Because of the people I've worked with, if it was just me, I'd probably stay in the Air Force as long as it would let me. But once again, it's time to try something new. So I'm going to try giving back to my family and friends that have supported me all these years. To my wife, Irene, who has been labeled an Air Force dependent almost her entire life, when in actuality, the Air Force was dependent on her. Like every military spouse, she had to endure the hardships and take care of our family by herself when I wasn't around. But she also took care of many other Air Force families in ways that only a commander's wife or maybe a first sergeant's wife can understand. She never got paid. She never complained. She just did it out of the kindness of her heart and her love for our Air Force families. She is an amazing person, and I love her very much. So I also have to thank her parents, Don and Katrin, for bringing her into this world, but also for being the best in-laws a guy could have. They've helped us out so many times, I don't know where we would be without them. Don is a retired Air Force colonel, and I stayed in just long enough so I would outrank him. But I have to say, my 25 plus years in the Air Force pale in comparison to the things that he did for our country in Vietnam and the rest of his career. Don, I'd follow you anywhere. I also have to thank my parents, Mike and Kay. They're the reasons I am here, obviously, but they are also the reason I am the person that I am. They taught me what I needed to know, but also let me be the person I wanted to be. I know they didn't want me to leave Ohio for the Air Force Academy or join the boxing team, and especially not become a fighter pilot. But they supported me through all of that because they knew it was what I wanted to do. Their love and support has made all the difference in my life. My brother Kevin was also a big influence on me growing up. He taught me a lot of things that I've used throughout my career. Mostly how to throw a good party and get away with things that I should not get away with. I just wish the Raptor was as stealthy as my brother was as a teenager. Seriously, I love my brother, Shelly, Lina, and Cam very much. And I'm so glad that they are here with us along with our good friends Dave and Shannon. To the rest of our family and friends in Ohio, in the Air Force, and around the world, I'm sorry you can't all be here with us to celebrate today. But thank you all for being part of our lives and giving us so many great memories over the years. We can't wait for the day when we can get together again. Finally, I'd like to thank my children, AJ, Jackson, and Audrey, for enduring all the hardships of a military family, taking every move in stride, and setting aside their fears to try something new. You are each amazing in your own ways, and I can't wait to watch you grow into the people that you want to be. Your mom and I promise to love and support you no matter what, just like our parents did for us. We love you very much. So thanks everyone for taking the time to watch this. I'm sorry I couldn't personally thank everyone that had a positive effect on me or my career, or this video would take days. I've been extremely fortunate to have such a long career in the Air Force, surrounded by people that I admire and respect. I'm sure I will miss it, but I feel better knowing our Air Force is in good hands. Take care of each other and continue to do great things. Thank you.